Kristin Rowe-Finkbeiner from Moms Rising, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. This is me. Growing up, happily thinking that women, well, girls, had mostly achieved equality. Then I had a child who was beautiful but also so sick that I had to leave my job. Since I was primarily raised by a single mom, I was haunted by the what-ifs. What if I didn't have a husband with an income and job-based health care? My situation would have been a disaster for my mom. My son is now healthy, as is my daughter, but not everyone is so lucky. For too many, motherhood is a barrier to equality and to economic security. Every day at Moms Rising, we hear stories from the front lines of motherhood. We hear stories like this one that Christina told, quote, "Searching for an apartment made me face to face with discrimination. Landlords repeatedly hung up on me when I mentioned I had a toddler." And Cynthia shared this, quote, "I work for an advertising firm. At one event, it was obvious just how many women were working for the ED, so I had to ask him why. He said, because I could pay them less. I was 23. I hadn't yet realized I was less valuable than a man." Barbara came forward and shared, "I didn't have any access to paid sick days, so I couldn't take my kids to the doctor, so my daughter got an ear infection that ended up harming her hearing." The drumbeat of stories builds. Sonia had to go back to work just 1 week after her first was born and 4 days after her second. She said, quote, "I wanted one-on-one time with my beautiful babies, but I just didn't have any leave," end quote. Our stories are heartbreaking, and they point to patterns of issues that we together as a nation must address. Like this one that Lori shared, quote, "I never realized that gun violence was such a threat to families until my daughter Emily was shot in the head. A gunman burst into her classroom with 2 semi-automatic weapons. She was lucky to survive, 12 others did not." Christina, "I'm frustrated that our child care now costs more than our mortgage and our car payments combined." But our stories aren't just of despair, they're also of hope. Dawn shared, "When my child recently was approved for health insurance, I found out that his surgery would be covered because of the Affordable Care Act." 81% of American women have children by the time they're 44 years old, and we all face a maternal wall. What does that wall look like? It looks like this. Women without children make 90 cents to a man's dollar. Moms make 73 cents to a man's dollar. Black women make just 64 cents, and Latinas make just 55 cents to a man's dollar. Motherhood is now a greater predictor of wage discrimination than gender. We can do better. Solutions are possible. Countries with family economic security policies in place, like childcare that's affordable, paid family leave, like access to sick days, have smaller wage gaps than we do here between women and men. We can raise all boats. We have the power because we still need to work together on this long to-do list. And we know that we together have the power to get to these solutions. And let me show you why, very quickly. Would everyone who is a mom please stand? Now everyone who has ever had a mom, please stand. Now everyone with two moms, raise your hand. Look around, there is power together. You can sit down now. Together, our actions, the contacts we make with leaders in the media add up. Consider that Seattle recently passed earned sick days, that affordable child care policy is finally moving forward, and that together we've protected Medicaid, which covers 1 in 3 children in our nation. Wins are happening. And our numbers are large. There are over 84 million moms in America. 3/4 of moms are in the labor force, and 40% of all breadwinners are now moms. But the problem in our nation isn't that moms are working. It's that our nation isn't working for moms yet. Fortunately, what's good for moms is good for the economy. The majority of purchasing decisions are made in our consumer-fueled economy by moms. Moms hold immense consumer and political power. There's also power in sharing our stories with each other as well as with the media and with elected leaders, because to be blunt, the majority of whom are men and most of whom have never experienced the discrimination that moms face each day. It's time to get our nation working for women and moms. We can do it. Our stories, our actions, our constituent contacts push elected leaders to act, educate our media about what's really happening, and in our culture of rugged individualism, sharing our stories like Laura and Barbara and others did let us each know we are not alone. We are not alone, and we know that when this many people are having the same problem at the same time, we have a national structural issue and not an epidemic of personal failings. It's time to make our nation work for moms and families. Thank you.
What?